Hey everybody, it's PartyElite. Welcome back for IXION Let's Play, where things have taken a dark and interesting turn right off the bat. As many of you pointed out in the comments of the previous episode, yeah, bit of a cliffhanger ending, wasn't it? And I knew we were heading towards a cliffhanger. I knew we were going to do our jump, and I was going to call it a session shortly after that jump. But what I didn't know was coming was that after destroying our moon to leave our solar system, we'd go ahead and come right back to it. Folks, that is Earth off in the distance with the moon over here having been completely shattered. I have no idea what's going on. Like I said last session, I will reiterate, again, my exposure to the story is only as far as the Next Fest demo went. So everything we're seeing now and moving forward, we're going to be experiencing together, and I am very much looking forward to it. Now, if you're looking forward to the rest of this series as well, folks, please don't hesitate to let me know. Hit the like button down below and leave a comment. It just lets me know when people are interested in an ongoing series, and based on the comments of the previous episode, y'all are excited for IXION, and that's great to see because I am too. I do also want to point out that I do read each and every comment, even if it comes, months after a video is released. So if you have any thoughts, opinions, feelings, or anything you'd like to share, go ahead and drop it down below. It will get read, and I will, address it in one way, shape, or form, whether it's written or through my actions in a following episode, or addressing it, during a session. With all that said and set aside, let's take a look at our situation, right? I mean, if we just take a look at the larger map over here, we can see the Urshanabi is still in the area. We do still have the moon in the area and Earth as well, and everything else has gone dark, apart from the sun, which I guess is some relief. So I'm curious to see what's actually going to go down. To kick things off, though, let's take a look at our initial objectives. So first of all, we have to repair the Tiqqun, and in order to do that, we have to research the probe launcher, but separately, we also have to feed the crew. Resolve the event, The Ghosts of Urshanabi on the planetary system map. Feed 1,000 crew members. I mean, we only have 179, so I'm curious as to where that comes from, or if multiple times feeding the same, 200-ish is going to fill that. I assume the latter, but in order to do so, why don't we go ahead and immediately, I think, give an order to our cargo ship, the Whale, to seek out food. Let's turn off the shipping of people back and forth, but hopefully the Urshanabi does still have some food for us to pick up. I'm assuming that's what the play is up over here. The Ghosts of Urshanabi, already getting very ominous. I guess I need to send a science ship first. So let's get the Galileo heading over, just as our first order while we're still paused, and let's head on back to the interior to investigate these two events. Now, events are on timers, as you can see, the little hourglass, right? The events are on timers, so I can't just leave them hanging, but at the same time, if I engage with them at the wrong time, I might find myself, chasing after things like a bunch of insect farms and the space to build them, while there's other more important pressing matters on hand, right? So I do have to be very careful about my timing with these things, but sure, let's go ahead and check this one out first. Are we the last of us? That's a potent question to kick this session off with. Administrator, the crew are asking a lot of questions about the state of the Earth. Munchy behavioral algorithms predict a decrease in productivity of 22% if those questions go unanswered. As administrator of the Tiqqun Station, you should find some answers quickly. I commit to sending an expedition to Earth. Okay, fair enough. We might need to send the Galileo over in that direction first instead, or are we going to actually send people down? Man, this is pretty much how I felt at the end of the previous session. Man, what a moment that was. All right, we'll commit to this. Obviously, we have no other option. Send an expedition to Earth. Very well. And what do we have over here? Moon oddity. Administrator, you may have noticed that the moon has broken apart. Yeah, you don't say. The crew are aware of this, and many rumors are spreading throughout the station. You'll have to make an official statement. Oh, okay, we can say Dolos has many enemies. Something must have happened during the test jump. Being such a high-profile event, it was the perfect opportunity for them to strike and sabotage our plans. All right, we were talking about the UN and stuff. I highly doubt they would be the types to blow the moon up. That would be absolute lunacy, but can't put it past them. We could say it's our fault. Despite our robust safety measures, a system failure at the exact moment of the jump caused the engine to drag a part of the moon with it into self-similar space. This failure has cost humanity dearly. Our mission now is to rebuild, or it was humanity's fate. Evidence suggests a great deal of time has passed in the solar system. The moon's destruction is obviously a consequence of humanity's selfish and warlike instincts. Oh, all three of these choices are compelling, and I do not know how they will affect us and if they'll have a bigger sort of influence on the playthrough. I do think these are minor decisions in the grand scheme of things, but I can certainly expect consequences from any one of these three options. So am I a corporate stooge? Like, this is how I'm reading these options. Am I a corporate stooge where I kind of, try to say it's obviously not our fault, it's our corporate enemies that are trying to sabotage our plans and in essence have wiped out all of humanity as a result? Are we, I guess, sort of humble, willing to accept that we made a mistake and as a result of that we destroyed humanity? I think even if we are humble, it would be kind of demoralizing to tell everybody, hey, we messed up, humanity is doomed, right? I think we should avoid that, whether we do believe it's our fault or not. Or we can say it was humanity's fate, which is an interesting option. It's almost got this like, it's almost got like religious vibes to it, It's like it was meant to be. We are the chosen ones to help push humanity past these selfish and warlike instincts. I don't know. I kind of like that vibe. There's something about it that's drawing me in. You know what? Yeah, I'm going to go with it was humanity's fate. Yeah.
Whose trust in your leadership is falling?
Trust has dropped a little bit. Can't blame the people for that. Minus 5%. That's not too bad. I imagine saying that we were stupid and we made it happen would hurt us a bit more, while mentioning, the enemies of Dolos might have actually not had a negative impact. But I'll take this on the chin. That's okay. That's okay. We're going to take some hurt here and there from time to time, and I'm curious what you guys actually think about those options and which way you would have gone. I was really torn about those three, and if the game continues to tear me apart like that with every decision, it's going to be an interesting road. All right, let's go ahead and research the probe launcher right off the bat. Where do we have you? Probe launcher, where you at? There you are. Go ahead and get to work on that. And apart from this, let's go ahead and take a look at our system map over here. Can we send... Yes, we do have to send the Galileo over to Earth. And we're currently going to the Urshanabi. Let's head on over to the Urshanabi first, because we don't have a time limit on the Earth event, right? So we'll just go and scout things out and see if there's a constant supply of food available to us, because that is going to be important. Yes, we have built up these insect farms, but I just don't know if that's going to be enough to sustain us for a very long period of time. Let's go ahead and actually get time moving on that note. And it's kind of funny, we're starting on a meal cycle. Can you imagine, coming out to this catastrophic event and trying to eat? I don't know, when I'm shaken, my appetite is probably the first thing to go, I think, at least if I'm trying to analyze myself a little bit. But hard to tell how my mind would actually behave if I were to actually be in this situation. My goodness. Oh, it made me so happy to see the reveal at the end of the previous episode. I'm really, really pumped for what other fast ones this game's going to pull on us, because I'm sure if this is the opening act, I'm sure it's just going to get wilder, right? Now, how are these guys doing here? They produce 1 food per cycle, which doesn't feel fast enough to feed such a large population, right? 179, we need 18 food per meal. And I got to do some math.
Has arrived at its
All right, good stuff. Let's check out the Urshanabi to see if it'll provide us our escape. I got to do the math to figure out when meal cycles actually happen, so I can start being a bit more efficient. Like, if a meal cycle is every 3 cycles, then that means we have 1, 2, 3, 9 food produced per cycle, or between meal cycles, which is half as much as we need. So I'm not saying those are the numbers. I'm just saying that's why I need to keep an eye out for the numbers. So 66 was the last meal cycle, and I'll try and pay attention to see what happens there, while we also take a look at what's happening over here at the Urshanabi. Oh, that's some real Dead Space vibes, actually. I really like this a lot. Urshanabi scan report. Our sensors have detected the Urshanabi. The ship is broken in 2 and is not transmitting any signals. Summary of intelligence on the Urshanabi. The phrase, "Whoever helps Dolos is an enemy of humanity," has been daubed in large letters on the wreck of the Urshanabi. Mummified bodies have been attached to its hull. Oh, we done goofed, didn't we? I'm not surprised. When I saw that, again, Steve Jobs-esque speech and how kind of pompous and self-aggrandizing it was, I kind of felt like that CEO and the entire Marduk Council was maybe on the ship with us, or are otherwise safe somewhere, and the destruction of the moon was maybe intentional. That's the initial kind of conspiracy theory vibe I get, that they wanted to make our mission the last hope for humanity. Because, in desperate times, people work their hardest, and when everything's on the line, we might actually accomplish our mission. That speech was very much like, the Earth is already dead, it's time to move forward. And so, it felt like the Dulles Corporation just pulled the trigger on that killing to make it happen sooner, so we'd be encouraged to look for a new home. I don't know, that's just the vibe I get right off the bat, and I'm very curious to see how it plays out. But for the time being, we will gather the remaining resources. The Galileo's team will salvage what they can from the Oceanabi. I do hope there's plenty of food on there still, because I'm a little concerned about that situation. But yes, back onto the interior view. We are almost done the probe, and I suppose we're going to use that to explore our own system first, right? I mean, all the other planets are missing, and I do wonder what that means and entails. Let's speed time up ever so slightly over here, and yes, keep an eye out for meal cycles. So it's not every even number, we know that. I guess every 3 cycles would make sense. So that would make a day equal. Well, actually, you know what? I'm not gonna pretend to know or to do the math. Let's just take the information the game gives us, as the probe launcher has been researched. Now we have to build a probe launcher. I assume that happens up over here at the docking bay. No, where do I actually build a probe launcher? Oh, right, of course, it's a building, naturally. All right, probe launcher, how big are you? Ooh, are we really running out of space already? Yeah, this is the this is the real challenge, isn't it? This is the real challenge, having to reorganize things when new buildings get unlocked. Okay, let's go ahead and try to let's build something to empty our stockpile here up a little bit, so we can get rid of this guy, right? That's 15. So let's go ahead and build a road over here really quickly, just to have this connected, so we can give the order to harvest that. And let's build. Do we want houses, or do we want these insect farms to be more cleanly placed? I really don't like this. If I do go to place the insect farms over here, though, we'll have to get rid of this first. We're already in the process of doing that. So, sure. Why don't we go ahead and food, insect farm, pop you down over here. We'll have space for 1, 2, and then a gap, eh? Of course. Of course there'll be a gap. God, why? Why are you like this game? Why are you like this? Okay, fine. Let's get houses instead. Just because that'll be better for my sanity, I think. Let's make sure we're placing them appropriately, and perhaps facing the right direction as well. Yeah, sure, pop you down there, and pop you down there. They don't take too many resources to build, just 15 alloys a piece, which is obviously not enough. But the other option is to move something else. Now, can I dismantle... I mean, I know I can. I know I can dismantle the tech lab and place it elsewhere. Just wondering if now is the time to pull the trigger on that, or not. Because it would be 2 birds with 1 stone, right? We'd actually make some room down over here for whatever else comes next, and we'd also empty our stockpile a bit to actually, force this thing to be emptied. The other option, and perhaps the more logical option, would be to just build another stockpile and temporarily have it store alloys, right? But I don't know how much of a temporary solution that'll end up being if I rely too heavily on it. So for the time being, let's let this happen, and let's keep an eye on this situation as well. So, transmission from the Galileo's team. The ship was full of food. I hope the expiration date hasn't passed. Everything is ready for extraction. Now, it was pointed out to me in the comments of the previous episode, actually, that I forgot to get our whale shipping food again after we had it bring some of those extra workers over to our station. And I was kicking myself when I read that comment, because I was like, oh no, did I make that mistake? And I think I might have. Now, I'm wondering if that mistake actually worked in our favor, because, would this number be different based on how much food we'd taken off the Oceanabi back then? I'm not 100% sure. Clearly, these people survived beyond the cataclysm, right? So, obviously, this number would, I assume, be lower than what it was back then, because they were probably eating some of this stuff. But anyway, that's just a thought I'm throwing out into the universe. I'm curious if my mistake in session 1 with regards to the Oceanabi's food supplies is actually going to help me out over here, as I do believe we'll have to now send the whale, yes, to pick up food. There's only 42 food available there. That's okay. And Galileo, let's get you moving back to Earth over here to see what's going on. That'll take about 1.2 cycles. And I don't know if 69 is where we saw another meal cycle. I missed it, so that's unfortunate, but it's not the end of the world. These guys are emptying you out first, and 15 is too much over here. So, you know, I'm kind of tempted. We're not researching anything right now, and even if I wanted to, I don't know if it's worth it. Like, if I were to chase after upgrades, are these guys locked? I think they're locked until we reach, like, another sort of story beat. So, why don't we go ahead and, yes, dismantle you. I don't know if we get a refund of all of our alloys, and I don't know if this is a risky move. You know, it's too risky. It's too risky. I'm just a little nervous here, folks. For the time being, I'm just a little nervous. Why don't we go ahead and place some more housing down, and we'll take it from there, right? So let's go ahead and get rid of this road over here, because what we want to actually do is continue this outwards and have things line up a bit more nicely. And let's go ahead and, yes, get some crew quarters down like so. I wonder if we'll get another infirmary down the line, but for the time being, yeah, 1 and 2 should be enough. Actually, 1 will be enough to make enough room to get rid of this, but we'll just stick with that for the time being, and let's head on over to Earth to see, yes, what has happened since the, well, this whole situation. What remains of us? See, there's that UN again. Summary of Earth data. No signals have been received from Earth. The oceans seem to have evaporated, and the surface temperature has risen significantly since the Tiqqun was last in orbit. Atmospheric readings indicate the presence of strong dust storms and dangerously high levels of carbon dioxide, radiation, and microplastics. The blue planet will never again deserve its name. Man, this is too real. This is all too real. Okay, we could investigate the Dalos headquarters. The Galileo's team will proceed to the coordinates of Inner Heaven, the former headquarters of Dalos AEC on Earth. We could investigate a personal location, try to find my family home, seems a little self-centered, or scour the globe in search of survivors. The team will use all the tools on board the Galileo to search for any signs of civilization, community, or survivors. So I've already decided I'm not a corporate stooge, right? I think we are being punished, I suppose, and we are humanity's last hope, but anybody who survived on Earth should, of course, be made part of that grand mission, I suppose. So we will scour the globe in search of survivors, and hopefully it'll reap us some good benefits. As well as some resources, maybe, because are we... Oh boy, I'm a little nervous taking on more lives before we have enough food to sustain them all, but that is the mission, I suppose, right? Scour the globe. Let's go for it. Let's see what we get out of that. It'll take 3 cycles, so we do have some time to make some progress somewhere, and we should now be able to empty this thing, because this guy's being built, so that's 15 alloys, right? Let's speed time up a little bit, and we'll go ahead and yeah, get our probe launcher over here. Eventually, I think I will move the tech lab over, but since we just got here and things are still very finely balanced, until we have access to mining and acquiring alloys and stuff like that, I don't think I want to demolish anything unless it is absolutely necessary, just to play it safe as far as resource allocation is concerned, right? Because you can't be wasteful in games like these, and those are some of my biggest concerns: being wasteful about resources and space. Improper alignments and stuff like that will hurt us down the line, and these kinds of pressures, they accumulate over time, right? If you don't take care of something, if you don't plan ahead, you will be hurting. I guess we could put you right here, lock you up nice and tight. That means we'll have access to the back over here if we extend. Basically, if this road, goes back to here and over. Yeah, we should be able to still reach back over here if we want to put another stockpile or something. So fair enough. Let's go ahead and put the probe launcher tightly packed against our mess hull. Pop you down there. It's a massive structure, eh? That is a massive structure. Now, I do wonder if the exterior... Nah, we wouldn't be able to spot it. I was just wondering if the exterior gets modified as well as we build some of these things on the interior, because obviously, the probe launcher has a whole exterior portion to it, but I don't think that's the case. And I'm really glad that I didn't behave wastefully about our alloys, though. I say that, and now what? We're using up 90 over here. We don't have additional sources of alloys available, so I sincerely hope some of the resources on Earth include alloys. Meanwhile, our hull integrity is constantly dropping, so we were on a bit of a time limit as far as the probe launcher was concerned, because that's what we need to repair the Tiqqun, right? So Hopefully this will help. Hull depletion, 20 from vol jump and 8 from opened sectors. Oh, just open sectors as in like sectors of our actual ship. I thought sectors as in like, sectors in space, but no, of our ship. All right, speed time up a little bit over here. And what are we looking at as far as Earth? Almost done. Come on now. Come on now. All right. Moment of truth, or at least revelation. Transmission from the Galileo team. After a long search, we have found nothing but rubble. We've seen no signs of life, not even a corpse. The lunaclism seems to have caused a series of events that precipitated the collapse of thermo-industrial civilization. The Earth has become a toxic and arid wasteland scoured by harsh winds, now more inhospitable than Mars. The only remnants of civilization we found was a fallen stele where the city of Washington once stood. Stuck in a crevasse, it had been sheltered from the wind. A prayer imploring divine forgiveness was engraved in gold on its surface. This is obviously the Washington Monument, right? A stele is things like obelisks. So I assume, at least. Feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, but at least that's my assumption. Nonetheless, we found no survivors, and I'm not entirely surprised, but, we held on to hope, right? I'm not entirely surprised, but I am glad that spending all this time looking around has brought us a fair bit of resources. I was just talking about how nervous that was making me, so that's nice at least. And hey, would you look at that? We are actually able to check elsewhere. It looks like we searched known city locations, subterranean bunkers, autonomous communities, and any signs of life before coming to this conclusion. Very well. Let's now go ahead and investigate the headquarters purely for resources here. They might have something, whether it's science or literally anything else. Let's go ahead and investigate the headquarters, and I wouldn't be surprised if the HQ was one of the safer places on Earth itself. If all those CEOs and stuff are still there, they might be, how should I put it? They might be the type who invested in their own safety, knowing what was coming. There we go. Now, fleet management. Let's go ahead and make sure we're pursuing both of these. It looks like we've picked up all the food we could have picked up. So yeah, still a little nervous about that, but let's go ahead and ship over some of these goods so that if we do need to build more insect farms, we have that option available to us. Although I do wonder if we can't... Yeah, when will we get access to some of these extra steps, eh? Not yet is the answer, obviously. Nonetheless, the probe launcher is almost done. Again, just the level of detail is absolutely beautiful. Oh, and for some reason that reminds me, I saw many people ask about the availability of the game. It is currently available on Steam. When the first episode released, it was before the game's release, but as of now, it should be available on Steam. So if you want to check it out, you absolutely can. All right, this is done. Let's go ahead and take a look at the science ship's findings here. Wow, okay, that's really good to see. That's actually working out very nicely so far. Makes me a lot more comfortable. But summary of intelligence on Earth over here. The converted oil rig which Dolos used as its state-of-the-art headquarters is gone. Only a few metal scraps remain, scattered across an expanse of dusty, cracked Earth. There is no sign of survivors. My goodness. They didn't even... I mean... Alright. Maybe this wasn't intentional. Maybe they weren't prepared. Well, let's go ahead and investigate our personal location, try and seek out our family home. Alright, we'll see how that plays out, and then we'll see what these probes allow us to do. Again, I assume they're going to cost alloys or polymers to actually build, so I wanted to make sure we had some resources secured, right? And we've completely cleared out this sector, so, well, no luck there, I guess, right? As Buddy over here is bringing some resources in. Yeah. That's so cool. Oh, I didn't notice that previously. But, yeah, did you see that disappear? Oh, man. Like I said last session a couple times, it's the little touches, for real. It really is the little touches. That cargo ship design is really cool, actually. The way it stores... Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness, that's really neat. Love it. It brings me such joy. Nonetheless, let's stay focused on the task at hand over here. Speed time up a little bit, just so we can maybe see what's going on in our system here. Alright, looks like the building is operational. Now let's go ahead and construct our probe. It'll cost 3 polymer. Yeah, it seems as though ships cost polymer, whereas structures cost alloy, and I'm sure more complicated things will cost a blend of these, and then of course later on down the line, we'll need electronics, we'll need hydrogen, we'll need etc., 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 right? There's a lot of moving parts. But let's go ahead and build just the one probe. They can detect and analyze nearby stellar objects, revealing them on the planetary system map. Okay, so that's what'll help us find all of our other planets and hopefully their moons and stuff as well. Their satellites, both natural and artificial, which maybe we'll be able to harvest, right? Not too expensive to build these guys, so that's cool. I imagine they have a limited range in which they operate. Oh, but look at that. Yeah, you can see it get built. Just so cool. It's just so cool. But let's go ahead and take a look at the Galileo once more and what happened to my own home. A huge crevasse cuts through the ground where your home once stood. There is no trace of civilization. I suppose I should not be surprised. But hey, we've got a lot of research or science points. We've got a lot of alloys, and now we actually acquired some electronics too. Very well, very well. Let's end data listening protocol, and let's make sure that we have all that stuff coming through, because I want to, even though I don't have stockpiles for everything, I want to make sure we spend the time to extract everything, right? Construct a probe is still not done. Oh, we have a meal cycle at 79. So 66 and then 79. I mean, those are 13 apart, but 66 is not a, like, multiple of 13. I'm sure I'll figure it out eventually. Or those among you who are smarter than me on this front, feel free to let me know if you figured it out already. Drop it in the comments down below so we can kind of take that into consideration as far as our calculations are concerned. It doesn't actually mention, but it's okay. Nonetheless, this it was cool to see this get built. Find an asteroid with iron deposits. Excellent. Okay, so once we do that, we'll be able to acquire iron, obviously, and then we'll have to build buildings to convert iron into alloys, which, by the way, right now are maxed out. Nonetheless, over to our system map. And let's get the probe going where? Do you just shoot you out at random? Ooh. Okay, okay. What am I looking for? What am I looking for? Oh, okay. Ah, there we go. There we go. My apologies. Like I said, I'm experiencing all this for the first time as well. I find it quite exciting to explore new games together, especially ones that are so story-oriented and tend to have twists and turns. So every once in a while, I will have to figure out what's going on. Resource estimate, medium, high. So this is interesting. We got this is high, but this is... Oh, that was high for a different thing. Okay, I got you. I got you, game. It looks like iron is primarily available over here. I mean, these are huge deposits, so why would I not go there, right? I'm sure there are more opportunities, but that seemed ideal. All right, sure. Let's go ahead and pop this over here. Everything's a nice, bright, vibrant green. Let's head on over. Good stuff. So the probe's going to make its way. Yeah, and if I just go to our exterior view, will I see the probe fly out? No. Maybe? No. I was just wondering, because again, when you move around in space, you do see yourself move around. Ooh, hey, look at that. That's just a piece of moon rock. Oh my god. But yeah, so I was just wondering if a probe launch and stuff was actually also detected. If we go to the interior, we'll of course see the probe's gone, but I guess I could order a probe launch while paused, and then we could pop into the interior to see if there's an animation. I'm quite curious about that. But what do we have here? Yet another event, yet another concern. Melancholia. Administrator. Mission reports from the expedition to Earth are being discussed among the crew. The thought of having lost all loved ones left behind has destroyed morale for many of them. The symptoms of this trauma have now been collated under the medical designation Dead Earth Sickness. Stability penalty is -1, and that's permanent. Now, I suppose we did have the option to not investigate the Earth, right? That was a side objective. We could have kept that afloat and just ignored it and left. And I wonder how differently things might have played out if we did that. But nonetheless, we did decide to explore it, and we did take this penalty. So very well, it is what it is. And I do wonder if that hits our trust, or where is stability? Right, of course. DES. There it is. Stability is a matter of tracking happiness, whereas trust is obviously trust in the administration. And I do believe trust and stability go hand in hand. Yeah, the happier they are, the more stable things are, the more trust we generate per cycle. Okay, so we're still in the positive, so that's promising at least. and hopefully that'll work out nicely for us. As out in the system map, we should see our probe still making its way over. It's got quite a distance to go still. Not much for us to do back at the station, so let's just track this bad boy making his way over as we continue to acquire science, and as our cargo ship continues to bring stuff over. No, because we don't actually have, I think, storage space for anything else, do we? These guys are still small. Are we not bringing in... Oh, what do we have over here now? Yet another event. The Great Thaw. Administrator. To safeguard humanity, we must find survivors and increase the station's population. We do not have time to go through the classic reproductive cycle of your species. Adding new members to the Tiqqun's crew will have a positive impact on morale. Cryonic stasis, a practice pioneered by Dolos, was in growing use even before we left the solar system. There is a very high likelihood that cryonic pods containing survivors await discovery. Oh, alright. Find and collect 500 cryonic pods. So they were prepared. They were prepared. A new objective, a new home. Quite curious to see how that comes about.
Hull integrity below 50%.
Okay, how do I repair this? All repairs is disabled. Why don't we go ahead and enable that then? 100 hull units are irreparable. How do I enable hull repair? Because that's starting to make me a little nervous. I feel like I've not been told about a certain mechanic. Let's go ahead and pause for a second over here. Take a look at our cryonic center. So the cryonic center opens cryonic pods, increasing your population with either workers or non-workers. Cryopods can be found during expeditions using your science ship. By default, newly awakened crew members will join the population of the sector in which they were awakened, but you can change this behavior within the cryonic center's overview panel. Okay, very well. Specialization is about sector specialization. Game over. I don't want to look at right now. I want to look at hull. Maintenance crew. EVA airlocks have an efficiency rate corresponding to how difficult it is for the building's workers to locate breaches in the hull. Okay. In order to maintain the hull of the Tiqqun, ensure you have enough alloys and active EVA airlocks to allow for repairs. Hull depletion is affected by a range of factors, including the number of vol jumps performed, the number of sectors opened, the usage of the EKP engine, and accidents in progress. Hull repairs performed by EVA airlocks can be improved by optimal working conditions, certain sector specializations, and tech tree upgrades. Okay, so if we head on over to the EVA airlock, are we not seeing... There we go. Let's get hull repairs activated then, and hopefully we'll see this improve. Okay, I'm glad I checked. That was a little nerve-wracking. That warning of a 50% hull integrity was a little nerve-wracking, as we have yet another event available over here. What do we got? From Tiqqun Industry. Administrator. The integrity of the hull fell below 75%. Current damage exceeds the tolerance levels set by knee-high structural theory. It would be wise to commission repairs so as to prevent mission failure. Oh, I see. We can say the hull can hold on a while longer, or we will pledge to restore the hull to 75% within 30 cycles. That should be enough time, right? Now, I wonder if that only triggered because we waited so long and, yes, let it fall below 75%, or if it triggered because we activated the repair and something else would have popped otherwise. Either way, maybe it's ideal that we waited. Plus 19 per cycle. We have 30 cycles. Yeah, we'll get it past... You know what? I'm not going to do the math because I don't want to... I don't want to know if I'm going to succeed or fail before I actually get the success or failure. We have 30 cycles. Oh, come on. We'll be fine. We'll be fine. I don't have to... We'll be perfectly fine. Alright, let's head on over to our system map and see what the probe is up to. Almost there. And in a moment's time, it will have arrived, and we'll see what there is to take. Construct a mining ship in the docking bay and send it over to this asteroid. Yeah, sounds good to me. Head on over to our docking bay, and let's go ahead and get our mining ship. Again, takes a couple of polymers and a worker as well, I assume. We got plenty of both, and there's lots still available as well. If we take a look at fleet management, there's 149 polymers out there, 143 alloys as well. Sorry, the name skipped my mind for a second there. Are we able to build cryopods? No, we have to research them first, right? Now, do I want to rush that, or do I want to chase after, say, the steel mill, which is what we need to transform iron into alloys, which is obviously a bit of an urgent situation, right? So let's go ahead and chase after the steel mill and research that, and then afterwards we should maybe consider things like the batteries, right? We want to make sure that we're prepared and we're staying ahead of, like, circumstances. Do we want the cryonic center? Do we have too many people? We went from 179 to 178, so we lost somebody. So maybe we should wait before we get the cryonic center and start the overpopulation, right? Memorials are great for stability in sectors, and tech tree upgrades can, I suppose, further increase the stability. Okay, very well. And then there's the alternative life center, further increasing stability in the sector. So if stability starts to become a problem, again, we're going to want to have these on hand to help out. But for the time being, it is about repairs and construction. There's no point having access to memorials and alternative life centers if we don't have the alloys to actually build those structures, right? So let's stay focused on productivity and perhaps energy storage in case we get blackouts and things like that. And then we can consider quality of life and bringing new people onto the station as well. I think that makes sense as far as the logical approach to research is concerned. But there is our mining ship on its way out. We are researching the steel mill. I didn't even notice that this was made a part of our objectives. Of course it is. And by the way, I just want to point out clearly feeding 1,000 crew members does include repeated feedings of the same people. Over to our mining ship. Let's have it chasing after iron, yes, and it'll be pretty autonomous from there, right? It should, I imagine, make its way over, as visible on the map over here. And if we take a look at our exterior view, I doubt we'll be able to see it off in the distance. That was worth a shot. It's worth checking. Oh, do we have... Are these... No way. Are you for real? Those little, like, trails and stuff, I think those are... Are those people repairing the Tiqqun? Like, look at that. Look at these guys like flying around. I think so. I think that's what it's representing. That's beautiful. Very nice, subtle visual effects. I don't know if YouTube compression is letting it come through or not, but that's just really pretty. That is just really pretty. I mean, this whole game is just... I mean, look at that. Look at that. Beautiful. Just beautiful. Anyway, stay focused again on the task at hand, right? We are currently researching. We're very close to... getting our integrity where we need it to be. Again, what I find quite interesting is that the more fixed up the hull is, the less efficient the EVA airlocks are at repairing. It's a very interesting kind of logic, and it makes perfect sense, right? If you can find the breaches in the hull easily, you know where to go to repair them. If you're having a hard time finding the breaches, you're going to have a hard time repairing them, because you have to first find them. So it's a very interesting way to represent that. You can see again our balance per cycle still is going lower and lower, and it's just it's just a nice touch, and it's a clever way to implement the sort of balancing act of repairs and how long it takes. And I guess I'm glad I didn't do the math actually, and I should keep it that way, because the diminishing returns as we repair more and more is something I guess I can't very quickly calculate for, right? So we'll keep that up over there, as Tiqqun Industries will hopefully be pleased by our progress. Nonetheless, steel mill is almost done, about 2/3 of the way there, and we are mining iron as well. Now I imagine, if we take a look at the map here, I imagine mining will involve going over here, spending some time mining, extracting, I guess, 30 resource units in a cycle, and then actually moving all the way back. So is this a matter of the mining ship bringing stuff back, or do we have to have our, I think our cargo ships are going to have to ship these things as well. So let's go ahead and make sure things are kept clean over here, and turn off what we can't actually get anymore. Not what we have access to but don't have storage for, but just what we can't get anymore. So yeah, we can see more and more iron being mined, but it's just, I guess, floating there, waiting for a cargo ship to come through and pick it up. Oh my goodness, okay. Okay, very well, very well. We're mining a fair bit of iron. It's just a matter of then also actually bringing it over, right? Nonetheless, back to our interior. We've got our steel mill researched. Let's see how much space it takes and how much reorganizing we're going to have to do in order to make this work, shall we? But there is our steel mill. Transforms 15 iron into 15 alloy every one cycle. It does consume some electronics, so we're going to have to get a stockpile for that first. Where is my stockpile? Go ahead and pop you down over here, I suppose. Or first, why don't we go ahead and take a look at how big the steel mill actually is. I'm not surprised that it's a very large structure. We should be able to fit it somewhere over here. And yeah, see, this is where we start losing access to the edge of our spaces. I can't say I'm surprised, right? It was a matter of time before that happened, and we can't really. All right, fair enough. Fair enough. When can I get access to more sectors? I could override these locks, but they cost quite a bit. Access to the sector is restricted under Dolos AEC. Hold on, let's pause for a second before things start blowing up. To force entry, electronics and polymer must be spent to manually override the gateway's lock algorithms. Additionally, basic functioning of the sector necessitates the transfer of food, alloy, and workers. Alright. So resources are required. That's 80 alloy, 1 set of electronics, 16 food, and 40 workers. Sector 1 is active, speeds up crew transfer between sectors, also allows for the expansion of some buildings, influence to all sectors. Oh, this is a train station. To build a train station, you need to research the associated technology. Okay, I was like, what does this have to do with Sector 1 being active? No, it's a train station, right? Maybe we can hold off on this. Maybe we'll make this first sector our sort of industrial hub, because I know I skipped past it earlier, but if we take a look at specialization, you'll see that a sector becomes specialized in a discipline when it has a certain amount of buildings of the same type. Specializations give you bonuses that support the associated sector. So if we build, a bunch of industrial things in the same place, then it'll get better at those industrial aspects or outputs, right? So I just wonder if because we need to establish our foundation of being able to build stuff, if we shouldn't make this our industrial hub. It'll be a bit of a mixed bag, I think, just because everything is needed right now, and I don't want to waste resources in opening more of these gates. We'll see how tightly packed it gets, and hopefully I don't end up regretting this decision. But let's get our stockpile over here for what do we look for? I guess electronics is the priority, right? So pop you down over there, and let's go ahead and yeah, electronics it shall be. It'll take some time, obviously, to build this thing up, but once it does, our cargo ship will be able to bring the electronics over as well, right? There are 9 available. Again, it's not that many, so we should be able to open up a sector, but just playing it maybe a little too safe right now. Maybe, right? Let's lower the priority of the of the polymers right now, because we have, I think, enough, and we do need to focus on, yes, getting the getting the electronics and then the iron as well to actually process that into alloys and start doing that at home, right? That hull integrity generation has slowed down, but I think we actually accomplished our 75% goal there. I see it's no longer here, and it couldn't have been 30 cycles, right? We started this session at cycle 66. It's not even been 30 cycles up to this point, so we obviously managed to succeed there, which is nice. I'll take every win I can get. As we zoom back out over here, what else do I want to pursue? I mean, should I send more probes out without direction from the game just to explore and see what's going on? That doesn't sound like a bad idea, right? I think investing in at least one more probe for the time being is maybe the right call. Let's go ahead and build you, and who knows what else we'll need, right? Like if I secure silicon and I start producing some of that electronics, locally, then I won't worry about opening up more spaces, I guess. So, sure, why don't we chase after... Let's chase after the battery first, 45 science, and then we can chase after maybe electronics or polymer refineries. Polymers seem sort of mid in terms of availability, whereas electronics are clearly the rarest, so gotta figure that out. You know what? No. Let's start with the electronics factory. In fact, before we even do that, let's wait until our probe is done and see what resources are actually available in the system before we build an electronics factory that doesn't actually have access to silicon because there's none available for some reason. I mean, it must be in our own system, but just in case, who knows what's happened since the lunaclism, I believe the game called it. Nonetheless, this thing is done storing up electronics, so let's go ahead and build up our steel mill. Just wonder how big all of these things are and where I should put them. Maybe try and keep them together. Like, is there a good spot? These are all going to be massive structures, aren't they? Could get rid of these houses, but what good does that do me? None, really. Alright, fine. Let's pop you down over here. Put things down where they fit for the time being, I suppose, is the approach. We'll put a bit of a gap here so the road can differentiate between the residential area and the industrial area. And hopefully I don't live to regret a bunch of these decisions. I mean, I hope to live, but not to regret, obviously. 2 electronics, 50 alloys. All right, good stuff. Again, plenty of supply of at least alloys, so not too worried about that. But do I even need to build this steel mill? For the repairs, it looks like repairs are going through just fine. I feel like I was being rushed over here, but it is our primary objective, so we do have to actually accomplish it. What do we have over here? Oh, okay. Just the steel mill technology being completed. Very well. Is our probe done? It is indeed. So let's go ahead and take a look at the probe screen, and if we go to launch, what do we have? Do we have silicon anywhere? And if so, where? And I should also consider, do we have like combinations of resources anywhere, right? That would make life a little bit easier. I have to be a lot more systemic about this, don't I? Just looking. Oh, there we go. Hi there. See, I kind of wish I found this spot for iron instead, so the shipping wouldn't have to take place from all the way over there. Got to be a bit more, a bit less gung-ho, let's say. All right, we're okay. We're okay. Ooh, this doesn't look too bad. Lots of stuff available over here. Some iron, some carbon, I assume. Yes. I was like, carbon? Yeah, carbon. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. They're just. Oh my god. Didn't realize it was using the. They're like symbols. They're actual symbols. Lots of silicon and iron over here as well. Okay. Lots of good stuff in that general direction. Over here, what do we have? We have points of interest and ice. Ice is converted into water, obviously. Point of interest, I suppose that includes like planets and things like that. Very well, very well. But right now, looking for silicon. I mean, we know it's available, right? So there's that. We know it's all available. So that's good. Let's go ahead and head on over in this general direction, because I do believe we saw... Where'd you go? Where'd you go? Where was that sweet spot? Where was that sweet spot? Sure. Let's go here and hope for the best there. Should have a few different things that we could use, or at least that's my assumption. Back to our interior. Let's go ahead and start researching then our electronics factory, because yes, I'm fairly comfortable knowing that we'll have access to silicon and that'll allow us to produce our own electronics. Again, I do believe that's one of the rarer elements, right? So not elements, one of the rarer materials, I guess, if we're being technical, and so I think securing it sooner is probably not a terrible idea. Again, a lot of assumptions being made over here, but I feel like they're logical assumptions, educated guesses and all that. My goodness, this really got built up, didn't it? It just started as a hole in the ground, but this structure is rather impressive. I like that they've got like a whole process of construction. I like that it's not like you plop it down and it appears or just kind of fades in. I mean, sure, it fades in a way, but it's not like the whole building suddenly pops into existence, right? You see the inner structure, like the bones of the building, before the meat gets added on top of all those bones, as is happening right now. Just watching this while we wait for some of our progress with research and stuff. We also, of course, need to chase after the cryonic pods, right? That's an alternative objective. It's a side objective, but eventually we'll need more and more people. Right now we have 178 workers. Doesn't say how many we need to keep everything fully employed up there, at least. Down over here? Yeah, okay. Well, no, it just says how many workers we have and how many people we have. Interesting. Oh, okay, there we go. So we have 178 workers, but we need 118. I'm assuming that's what that implies over there. Very well. And again, this is managed on a per sector level, right? So that is something to keep in mind as well as we zoom on out to our probe over here, which has found, yep, two features. Now, here's the thing. We need to reassign this mining ship if we want to chase after the silicon, because we cannot actually build additional mining ships. Each one of these docking bays... Ooh. Damn. Got to be a lot more careful about power generation, don't I?
Power supply overloaded.
Alright, let's go ahead and turn off the tech lab for the time being. We're so close to being done over here. But what else can I turn off? What else can I, like, reasonably turn off? I suppose the probe launcher can be turned off for the time being. We're not using it, right? Will that give us enough? No, I don't think so. Okay, let's go ahead and turn off the... Oh, no. Let's turn off the tech lab for the time being, and we'll go ahead and build on the exterior some additional solar panels. Let's get this second set done. Confirm that. And hull repair does stop when we're working on the exterior, so that is something to keep in mind as well. But I think this is a priority. We need more power generation happening. Very well. It's interesting. The game really kind of throws you into thick of things, right? Like, or into the thick of things, I should say. Like, we went from relatively calm to just cranked it up to 11 almost immediately, it feels like. Almost immediately, because it's a free-for-all right now. It's all in our hands. And on that note, actually, let's make sure the mining ship is prioritizing silicon and making iron a lower priority. Just because, again, I feel like we have plenty of alloys. There's plenty of iron already out there, 312. It'll take us a lot of time to actually get through all that. So I think it makes sense to switch gears and focus on silicon. And what I actually came in here to point out was that our docking bay can only have 3 ships. So we'll need multiple docking bays for more than just the 3 ships, as I mentioned last session as well. So this is something to keep in mind because, well, of our current circumstance and future circumstances where we might need more things to be mined at the same time. Nonetheless, let's resume time and take a look at this event over here and see exactly what folks are worried about now. Switch to auxiliary circuit. Administrator, the Tiqqun has suffered an overload. During the conception of this mission, many plans for prototype buildings were stored in my memory. With knowledge gathered by our exploration teams, we can adapt them. Stanford's team lacked field data to make these plans viable, yet we can realize their full potential. Batteries will allow the Tiqqun to function on an auxiliary circuit when the energy supply system fails. Understood. It's just letting us know that we should maybe build up some of these batteries and stuff. No actual objective. There we go. Research battery technology and build 2 batteries. Probably not a bad idea to do that before things get a little bit harsher. And we have an incoming transmission as well. From where?
Administrator, we are picking up a Dolos emergency frequency broadcasting from the facility Outer Hope. Dolos protocol dictates that in the event of a major systems failure, administrators must contact the nearest Dolos site immediately. Outer Hope Station is likely to have both the materials and expertise required to repair the damage that the Vol engine has sustained.
Well, this is interesting. There's somebody out there. Goes our transmission there. We have to find a Dolos station with a probe. I assume if we use our probes to seek out points of interest, we'll find one. But that does mean we'll have to build a new probe, obviously, and seek out, I guess, multiple points of interest until we find the one we're looking for. Our ships are moving around to... you pick up the variety of goods we've told them to chase after. Are you seriously? You're going back and forth, aren't you? You know what? Let's go ahead and just tell you to focus entirely on silicon for the time being so you don't do this back and forth trip. I'm actually surprised that it didn't mine the iron within the same region, that it decided to come all the way down to here to pick up the iron instead. But hey, it is what it is. While this cargo ship is currently picking up, I think, iron, because we have that as a high priority, we should get silicon as a high priority, turn electronics off, and turn iron to a low priority as well, because we do still want to have that flowing through. But with that done, let's head on back to our interior and commission the construction of another probe. As soon as our external construction is completed, it'll take a little bit more time. We just need a little bit more power, right? Or are we fine, actually? 6 will take us... No, we're not fine. We're certainly not fine. And eventually I would like to, yes, research the battery technology and get these batteries built as well. I would like to avoid these kinds of situations as much as possible, because again, the hurt to trust is something I could very much do without, and I want to build those good habits nice and early so that down the line we're not struggling and suffering. Solar panels are completed. Let's go ahead and turn both of these guys back on, and let's go ahead and build yet another probe and try and seek out a point of interest, I suppose. Find a Dolos station with a probe. That's all it says. That's all we've got. Fair enough. Now, no connected stockpile has enough iron. Building is not connected to an active stockpile assigned to iron. Of course. Let's go ahead and build. I just wonder if I want the stockpile to be closer to here, or if I should just go ahead and keep it over here where we've made room. What else would we want to stockpile over here, right? What else would we want to stockpile? Water, or rather ice, I should say, maybe? No, I think we're fine popping these guys down over here. If we want to reassign them down the line, we obviously can. Go ahead and put you down over there. And let's build the road connection as well, obviously. Come on. There we go. And there we go. Cool. And that should then solve our problem over here as we get you storing, yes, iron. And we should probably, at the same time build the other one for storing silicon as well, just so we don't forget and have a bunch of those just kind of piling up needlessly. Or we should at least have them piling up in the right spot, right? So you're set to iron, and you are set to silicon. Excellent stuff. I believe our notification over here was just about our electronics factory being unlocked, and then we can go ahead and change our focus to the batteries. Even though I would prioritize the polymer refinery myself, let's go ahead and chase after the battery, because I guess it is more urgent than I'd previously assumed. Nonetheless, down over here, this probe is done, so we should be able to send that bad boy out. As up over here, you're completed, and you're being worked on as well, right? Yes, okay, good stuff, good stuff, good stuff. Good stuff all around, good stuff all around. Let's go ahead and, first of all, really quickly, just check the size of this electronics factory. Yeah, I could tell it was a long one. All right, okay. Good thing we have room back over here, I suppose, because it won't fit. All right, it'll fit up over here as well if I wanted to do that. Yeah, that's pretty much all the spaces we have left. Maybe we put this down over here, and I'm curious if the polymer factory will fit, you know, up there or down here. We'll see. Oh, this is quite nice as well, actually. Very pretty. Very, very pretty. But I digress. Let's go ahead and send that probe out and see if we can't find a good spot with an interesting point of interest, right? I assume that's what we're looking for. I assume a point of interest is what we're looking for, or objective related. Ah, clever game. Clever game. Actually telling us where we need to go looking, so we don't waste probes and time and energy. All right, let's be a bit more methodical. Ooh, that's looking promising. Promising. Come on, heading in the right direction there. Yes. Oh, there we go. Come on. There it is. Yeah. Make our way over. Won't take too long to get there, I don't think. Should be... Can we actually track how many cycles it'll take? No, I guess not, eh? Alright, fair enough. We'll just watch it make its way over. Oh, I remember I paused for a reason. I paused to see if we... Oh, hey, hello. It's still in there. Okay. Oh, we're actually launching it, aren't we? We are. Tell me that isn't cool. Tell me that isn't super cool. Just these, like, again, minor touches. They make me so happy to see. Because it shows polish, you know? It shows care and craft. And it just makes me so happy. It just makes me so happy as this probe is making its way over, and as we're about to make contact with somebody who's not been on the station for the first time in quite some time, actually. Again, cycle 66 is when we started this session. We're at cycle 104, so it's been quite a bit of time that we've spent in pretty much complete isolation. Battery technology is on its way now as well, right? Let's just take a look over here. About halfway done. Very well, very well. And, you know, I think I rushed this thing. I think I rushed this thing just because I was told to rush it, and we don't really need it. We have so many alloys on hand already. Then again, probably better safe than sorry. Probably, right? All right, good stuff. We're 2/3 of the way done with our battery research, and otherwise moving forward with all of our objectives quite nicely. Ooh, what do we have over here? Almost missed this event. I wish these came with little warnings as well, because, you know, if I was in the exterior view, I would have never seen it. I guess that's reason to stay in the interior view and keep viewing all of our sectors. Nonetheless, let's see what's going on over here. Sector growth. Administrator, Sector 1 has almost reached its maximum structural load. With more infrastructure surely needed soon, a new sector will need to be unlocked. Originally, sectors were programmed to automatically unlock after completion of the mission to Proxima Centauri. With a change of the Tiqqun's mission objective, this restriction could be bypassed by manually overriding gateway lock algorithms. Okay, so I guess this is the story beat where we are being encouraged to make this move, and so I suppose we should. I could just say that, no, we don't have the resources to do it, but you know what? I feel a bit more comfortable now because we have secured access to silicon. We haven't built the actual electronics factory yet, but we know it can fit in our current space, so I'm not as concerned as I was just a handful of cycles ago. So sure, I will pledge to unlock a new sector within 10 cycles. I don't think that's going to be too much of an issue for us, but I suppose right now I'm still prioritizing in my mind the arrival of this probe, which is just about to happen. And folks, I am very, very curious to see what it'll unveil when it arrives next time. This is where we're calling it a session, folks. Lots going on right off the bat, lots of new mechanics being introduced, lots of beautiful visuals to go with said mechanics, and lots of curious opportunities for growth and development, and just freedom, really, to expand as we please. I hope you enjoyed this session. As my goodness, look at this thing. These things all have minor animations and stuff as well. I'm absolutely in love with this game, folks. If you're in love with this game as well, if you would like to see more of this series on the channel, please don't hesitate to let me know. Hit that like button down below, leave a comment. It does make a very big difference in just letting me know what people are enjoying on the channel, what I should keep pursuing, what I should keep doing, or what I should slow down. For the time being, the plan is to perhaps release an episode every other day. That I think will give folks enough time to stay caught up, because these are hour-long episodes, obviously, on average. So hopefully that schedule kind of works out, releasing every other day. And I also have a bunch of other Let's Plays that have kicked off recently on the channel. Lots of access to lots of exciting new games, so feel free to have a look around. And if you're new around these parts, feel free to subscribe, of course, if you would like to see, you know, IXION and other strategy and management games in your life in general, and you'll see plenty of it on this channel. But with that said, folks, again, calling it here. I want to give, of course, a massive thanks to all of the channel members and patrons who've been supporting the channel on a monthly basis. Y'all keep us alive and running smoothly. And of course, a big old thanks goes out to each and every one of you for watching. Until next time, cheers.